I remember a time here in San Diego in the not so distant past where homes were going on the market and getting 10 plus offers that very first weekend. Right now, that is not the case. Bidding wars are over right here in San Diego. We're gonna go and show you what's happening right here in the San Diego real estate market, how much below list price homes are selling for, what this means for buyers and sellers, and all indicators are pointing to the softening of the San Diego real estate market. However, there's one outlier that I found, so we're going to dive into what that is and let you know what's going on right here in the San Diego real estate market. So the number one indicator to show us if we are seeing bidding wars or multiple offers that are driving prices up right here on each property is going to be the percent of original list price received. So the average percent homes are selling for above or below the list price. Right now, at the end of September 2025, it was sitting at 97%. Now I have this on a 3-month average just to smooth things out a little bit, but you can see that the trend is going down. We peaked out this year earlier in that April/May timeframe, but we never crossed over that 100%, meaning homes were getting above 100% list price. $1 million home was selling for about $970,000. Back in 2024, back in 2023, and the previous 2 years as well, especially 2022, the early part of it at least, where homes were getting well above list price. This is when the bidding wars were very aggressive, meaning there was 10, 15, 20 buyers for every single property, a limited amount of homes on the market, and interest rates were super low, so consumers, or buyers rather, were able to have a little bit more purchasing power and put in an extra 10, 15, 20, $50,000 on their loan, and it wasn't adding a crazy amount to their mortgage. I mean, it still did add a lot, obviously, but it wasn't like it would be at a 7% range. So the number one indicator is the percent of average list price is going down right here in San Diego. The second thing is homes are not flying off the shelf as they were back here when the average days on market was 12 days. And this is taking into account all homes right here in San Diego. So obviously you had some that were selling that first weekend, but most were selling within that first 30 days. We did get higher here in February of 2023, but right now we're sitting at 33 days, which is 32% above where we were last year. So as the market continues to soften right here in San Diego, for sellers, you could expect a little bit more time on market. Now, if interest rates fall significantly, we can see this change, but typically as we go into the latter part of the year, when we're going into fall, we're in October, November, getting into December, the number of buyers out there usually drops down a little bit, and days on market will usually continue to rise as we go towards the end of the year here. And the third factor going over with bidding wars being over right here in San Diego is properties with a price decrease. Right now we're at 35.35% of homes on the market have had a price reduction above where we were in 2024 and in 2023. Now right here in 2022, we did continue to go above this, but during this time right here from about April all the way through the end of the year is when we saw a big jump in mortgage rates. So as rates did go up during this time, prices started to soften, the market started to soften, it recovered the following year, but it was a big shock to the market as interest rates went up. But this year, interest rates have gone down a little bit, which I'll show you here in a sec, but the properties with a price decrease is still remaining relatively high. But the outlier we're seeing right here is the off-market in 2-week stat, which is actually rising, which is kind of rare. As for in 2023, this is going down towards the end of the year. 2024, down towards the end of the year. As we go towards the end of the year, homes typically sit a little bit longer. But starting right here in the end of June, early July, we actually saw this number start to creep up, which we've been keeping an eye on here. Right now, we're about 39% of homes go off market within the first 2 weeks. So even though the other data is telling us it's a little bit more of a buyer's market, homes are selling for a little bit under list price, they're sitting a little bit longer, we're seeing this number start to tick up a little bit, which Could be a little bit of play on interest rates as interest rates fell below that 6.5% range. Maybe more people were in the market, but that didn't happen right back here. But yeah, for all you sellers out there, this is a good sign that there is some strength still in the market. Even though we're making videos of it's a buyer's market, the bidding wars are over, which is definitely not the same market that we have seen in years past. We are seeing a positive trend right here as the off market in 2 weeks has been rising over these past month or two. But like we always mention on this channel, it really comes down to where you're looking, what price point you're looking, where you're selling, where's your location, how much have you prepped your home. Like there's so many different factors that go into it. Like even though we have seen longer days on market, there's still a few different things happening. And then we also have another property that is listed down in the Pacific Beach area. It's just over that $1 million price point. And we've had a lot of showings. We've already had one offer in. It was a little bit low, kind of going with this whole theme here, but potentially, we're getting some good traffic. Now we're just waiting for a few offers to come in. So we shall keep you informed and let you know that story as that evolves. But there's still buyers out there. We've had a ton of showings. It's just like when we had this many showings in 2023, we would already have 5, 10 offers. Now buyers are taking their time a little bit. And then one other story of what we're seeing out there with our clients. We were out with clients at an open house this weekend up in North County, San Diego, just over that $2 million price point. And that home actually came on the market on like a Thursday or Friday. Showings weren't happening until an open house on Saturday and Sunday. By that time, they already did have one offer in with multiple other offers coming in. So that came down to a unique location. And then there's one more that our clients were interested in, different clients in a different part of town, but it was the listing strategy. They listed it super low, under $1 million in Encinitas, a detached house, and it had just come on the market, but already multiple offers. Like that one is going to go well above list price, but that was their listing strategy. They wanted to list super low, get a ton of interest in there, and ultimately drive that price up to market value. And we'll see where that ends up in the next month or two. Now let's look at a few other stats just to let you know what's going on in the market here in San Diego. One thing that we have noticed, a year over year inventory growth. So more homes, more options for buyers. As you can see here, all of these are comparing last September to this September. Most areas are well above where we were last year. As you're looking, La Jolla was about 19% more listings in 2025 than 2024 in September. As you go into Rancho Bernardo, we have about just over 68% more listings. Certain areas, you did see a little bit of a dip in Southern Carlsbad, as well as like Calavera Hills area of Carlsbad. San Marcos's are up a little bit, but most areas you can see do have more inventory, more homes, which kind of contributes to the longer days on market as well, and a little bit more softness in the San Diego real estate market. Now, certain little areas you can see Hillcrest had a few less listings, so just shy of 100 in both times. North Park just a little bit more. So there's not a huge swing one way or the other. But you could just see all the difference in different areas, how much it differs from neighborhood to neighborhood. And here's breaking down price cuts for each different area. Once again, it varies widely from 25% of homes with price cuts up in Northern Vista to 35% out in Escondido to just over 20% down here in Mira Mesa. So not all areas, once again, are having that 35% price cut, but certain areas like Rancho Penasquitos, where 40 homes out of 110 have had a price cut. And it just goes to show you that, once again, every neighborhood is going to be a little bit different. Now, to go along with that, home buyers are canceling deals at a record rate compared to years past. And there's for a few different reasons. So roughly 1 in 7 home purchases have got canceled. Now I'll show you what San Diego is here in a sec, because it's actually a little bit above this, but 15.1% in 2025, well above. I mean, you can see even during the busy times when it was a bit more hectic market, 2021 especially, 11.4%. So only a few percentage points above that. So it's not crazy off the charts. It's just higher than it has been in years past for a variety of different reasons. So here's some of the top reasons why people were canceling, with the top being inspection and repair issues. So as you're going through escrow, as you're going through that whole process, one thing that you're doing is your inspections, getting the home checked out, make sure all is up to your standards, all is good, there's no deal breakers in there. And obviously that is one of the biggest reasons that people are dropping out right now, 70.4%. Now there was just 443 agents surveyed, but 70.4% had it listed as the top item why people are backing out of transactions. Next being financing fell through. Another one, buyer was unable to sell their current home. This is interesting because a few years ago, you weren't seeing homes go pending with a contingency that the seller had or the buyer had to sell their current home, because there was a ton of other buyers that didn't have that contingency in there. So that's kind of a new one that we have. That's a bigger portion than we have seen in years past, because like I said, that didn't really change too much, or that wasn't really an issue when there was a ton of offers. Now, one thing I did think that we would see more of here is insurance issues. So right here in San Diego, one of the biggest things is, you can't see it, but it says insurance issues right beside my head there, but in fire insurance. And we just closed one over in San Marcos, and it's a condo complex, and they had insurance issues because their insurance got dropped. They didn't have enough coverage. Lenders wouldn't lend on it. That has since all been taken care of, and now they can lend in that community. But we have seen it in a few other communities where there potentially are a few different issues of higher premiums, especially at single family homes in high fire zones. And so most people are being able to find insurance providers. It's just the cost has been a bit higher than they expected as far as single family homes go. In one instance, we had clients who were selling up in the Carlsbad area. Their current insurance was like $2,500 a year. As the new buyers came in, when they were getting quotes and stuff, they started about $5,500 because it was in a higher fire zone. So you can see it did go up, and it did change partially because there's just less insurance providers out there. And so where our mortgage rate's at right now, we're looking at 6.38%. We've been tracking sideways a little bit here for the past few weeks after the big dip we did see in mid-September. So nothing too high, nothing too low. We've just been going on a sideways track. And so we'll continue to keep track of the market out there and let you guys know what's going on. Now, if you are a buyer out there, we did see inventory go up earlier this year. Now we're kind of flat, so we haven't seen a ton more inventory. We wouldn't expect a ton more. I mean, there's always homes coming on the market, but we're not seeing a big rush as far as the number of homes coming on the market, especially going into the latter part of the year. But buyers out there, we have seen buyers taking a little bit more time than they have in years past, just a slower pace as far as the sales process goes. And sellers out there, like I said, some homes are selling relatively quickly. Some are selling just taking a little bit longer. We're seeing a few price reductions, but it's really dependent on what's happening in your specific neighborhood, your specific price point, and all those kind of factors. And if you guys want this market report for your specific area and your specific neighborhood, just click on that link below in the description, and we will get you all that information over to you.